Somewhere in America, there's a town where people just stop existing. No bodies, no suspects, no goodbyes. Just empty houses, unfinished dinners, and a community that's learned not to ask questions. Tonight, 3 towns, 3 disappearances, and one thing that connects all of them. These are the stories nobody wants to tell you. Welcome back to Midnight Masquerade. If this is your first time here, settle in. Dim the lights, and maybe don't watch this one alone. These stories were submitted to us by viewers who asked to remain anonymous for reasons that will become clear. We've changed certain names and locations to protect the people involved, but the events, those we left exactly as they were told to us. Let's begin.
In a small town in rural Ohio, population just under 3,000, there's a pattern the locals don't talk about. Every 7 years, almost to the month, a teenager disappears. Not runs away, not gets into trouble, disappears. No trace, no trail, no goodbye text to a friend. The most recent case was a 17-year-old boy named, we'll call him Cody. Cody was a junior in high school. Good grades, played baseball. Nothing about his life suggested he was planning to leave. His mother told investigators that on the night he vanished, he'd been acting strange for about a week. Quiet, distracted. He kept looking out his bedroom window like he was expecting someone. October 14th, a Tuesday. Cody said goodnight to his mother at 9:47 p.m. By 7 a.m. the next morning, his bed hadn't been slept in. His window was open, and his phone, fully charged, still on the nightstand, had one unsent text message in the drafts. It just said, "I see him again." Cody's house sat at the edge of town, right where the streetlights stop and the tree line begins. Neighbors say that's always where it happens. Every time. The last house before the woods. Search parties combed those woods for 9 days. They found one shoe, about 2 miles in. Nothing else.
This next story comes from a small town in northern Michigan, near the lake country most tourists never bother to visit. In the winter of a recent year, the Hendricks family, a mother, father, and 2 young children, vanished overnight. The father worked at the local hardware store. The mother homeschooled the kids. Quiet, private, kept mostly to themselves, but nothing about them raised alarms. No deaths, no enemies, no history of trouble. It was a Friday night in January. A neighbor last saw the family's lights on around 11 p.m. By Saturday afternoon, when the father didn't show up for his shift, his manager drove by to check on him. The house was locked from the inside, every window shut. The car was still in the driveway, buried under snow that had clearly fallen overnight, meaning nobody had driven it out. Inside, dinner was still on the table, plates half-eaten, a cartoon still playing on the TV, looping on mute. Police found no sign of forced entry, no blood, no struggle. The only thing out of place was the back door, unlocked, slightly open, letting snow drift in across the kitchen floor. And in the snow just outside that door, 4 sets of footprints, walking away from the house in a perfectly straight line. They didn't wander, they didn't stumble, they just walked. Our final story is the one that unsettled us the most while researching this video. Because this time, the disappearance wasn't the strangest part. This happened in a small town in West Texas. Over a period of 6 years, 5 people went missing. All adults, all reported as voluntary departures by local law enforcement. No real investigation, no task force, no press conference. Just a line in a police log. Left town,
No foul play suspected. Until a retired detective, someone who used to work in that same department, came forward after he moved away. In an interview recorded 2 years ago, he said something that never made it into any official report. He said the sheriff at the time told his officers, directly, not to look too closely into disappearances that happened near the old grain silos on the edge of town. Those silos had been abandoned since the 1980s, structurally unsafe, condemned, fenced off. And every single one of the 5 missing people had last been seen within a mile of that fence line. The retired detective said he asked the sheriff once, directly, why they never searched the silos. He said the sheriff looked at him and said, "Some doors, once you open them, you can't close again. Leave it alone." The sheriff died of natural causes 4 years ago. The silos are still standing, still fenced off, still condemned. Nobody's disappeared from that town since he passed. At least, nobody's been reported missing. 3 towns, 3 silences. And in every single one, a community that decided it was easier to stop asking questions than to face what the answers might be. If you have a story like this, something that happened in your town, something